With every other major fighting game seemingly getting an update around the same time, I'm able to compare the state of things between our different communities. And after seeing what's happening with Street Fighter and Tekken, I can safely say, fuck, it's good to be a Striver right now. Let's talk about Strive's future. We've known about it for quite a while as a community. The fabled 2.0 was originally announced at last year's EVO Vegas with an extremely vague trailer and a bunch of press releases basically saying, it's coming out, don't worry guys, it'll be there. Eventually. Please God, let this work. But finally, after months of drip-fed information that almost caused me to go bankrupt, like seriously, fuck, I'm way too reliant on this game, we finally have a trailer and more information about the game, and hopefully, without jinxing it, the future's looking good. I've tried to move away from current event stuff on this channel, but I feel like in the spirit of things, we should talk about it a little bit. Hell, it's the game we're going to be talking about for a while over the next few years, so why not start early? Now, I'm not going to go over everything in the 2.0 trailer. I already did that on my second channel, which was a fruitful and informative conversation. Blue Water Default is throwable and nobody does it. Yeah, no one's going to fucking do it anymore. Learn to structure your offense better, you piece of shit! I will, however, go over what we should be expecting and the general vibe that 2.0 is bringing to the table. Starting with the balance. We know a little bit about the balance philosophy that 2.0 is going to have. At the end of last year, in the 19th developer backyard, Ken Miyauchi shared this with us. For version 2.0, our first priority is to bring these heightened performance levels back to an appropriate range, with the goal of establishing a battle environment that functions in a healthier and more stable way. From there, we'll review elements from where the balance between risk and reward has become unclear, as well as areas where gameplay has tended to favor overly specific actions or choices, resulting in a narrower range of decision-making. In particular, regarding Wild Assault, we are reassessing its role and position as a universal mechanic, taking into account how the environment has evolved since its introduction. For a smaller number of characters, we are also considering changes that go beyond standard tuning, including potential reworks. Now, a lot of this is purposely vague. It's just supposed to be a little bit of a teaser after all, an appetizer of what to expect. In fact, there was a lot more stuff like this in the blog post, but this part made a lot of people question things. It made them raise their eyebrows, stroke their chins, shit themselves. Specifically, the mention of Wild Assault is quite interesting. Wild Assault has been an absolute nightmare of a mechanic ever since it's been introduced. The balance has been absolutely all over the place. There has not been a single time in Strive's history where the mechanic has been well balanced. Every color has had its own time in the spotlight. Originally, White Wild Assault, with its quick startup, invincibility, and plus frames, caused it to be the strongest one that you could have. Not to mention, it had the ability to be cancelled into special attacks. Alongside this, Orange Wild Assault would cause any player to go flying across the screen if they jump, and allow them to cancel into any attack on hit or block, allowing for super easy combos and amazing pressure. Once White Wild Assault was shot in the leg, and eventually Orange Wild Assault lost its ability to cancel things on block, that then left Blue Wild Assault, which with its frame advantage and ability to cancel anything on block has left it as the de facto best one, and also super fucking annoying to play against. Like, oh my god, why of all characters did you give this to Potemkin? With the mention of the mechanic in the dev backyard, everyone was wondering what their plans were. And let me be the first to say, it wasn't what I expected. Wild Assault has been completely removed and replaced with a mechanic called Counter Blitz. By pressing forward and dust when hitting a big counter hit, the one that brings the announcer out, your character will do a pre-canned combo with the final hit breaking the wall, if it's close enough. Now, there's a couple of things we don't know about this, like if you can do anything afterwards, if it can be RC'd, and if the wall break leads to a hard knockdown or a regular one. But compared to Wild Assault, it seems so much healthier. Only working on counter hit means that your opponent has to fuck up in some way for it to even be usable. And it's still interacting with the burst gauge means that there's still that decision making there. Comparing it with Wild Assault that could be used at any time means that it's much more easy to balance around, and much less intrusive in general gameplay. And if you're wondering, most people do see this as a net positive. This is the sound that the crowd made when they announced that Wild Assault was dead. Even without the patch notes, the tone that this sets for the entire community is unmistakable. For 2 whole years, Wild Assault has been a burden on the majority of players, something we had to deal with instead of enjoying. Arxis heard our cries and got rid of it, with other devs telling their players that if they don't like something, they can go back to a previous game. That's generally what they said for real. Arxis listening to what players want and making a major swing because of it is, like, I don't even know what to say. It's seemingly unheard of. Well, okay, before we bounce off of balance, celebrating that the devil has died and won't be coming back, it's definitely worth saying that there's still reason to be a little bit cautious. Remember in the backyard when they said they were working on reworks for a small number of characters? We have no idea how many there are, but from the trailer it seems that Oscar and Chaos are likely to get substantial changes. Does being able to summon your staff without a card count as a rework? I don't know. Safe to say, though, that there is a non-zero chance that the update, balance-wise, still has the chance to be a little bit iffy. I like the changes that we've seen so far, mainly because I don't play these characters, so I'm super disconnected from them. But I trust Arxis more nowadays than I do compared to earlier seasons of Strive. We'll get onto that a little bit more at the end, because we need to talk about the Battle Pass! Strive, in the past, didn't have many customization settings. Every character has a set amount of colors, with some being locked behind a paywall. Your lobby character has the ability to be customized pretty heavily, but you only see them in the lobbies. Hell, even the wanted poster, the one thing that you would see before every match, for 4 years, couldn't be customized outside of, hey look, that guy's in Celestial! But now, you can customize so much stuff! Characters have weapons they can equip, the UI can finally be changed, and I can make my plate look awesome! I love ways to customize different things for my games. Strive did have this on PC with mods, but seeing the official game actually add things is really cool. And circling back a little bit, we have skins! Seemingly similar to how Granblue had them, you're able to earn skins through a Battle Pass system. Starting with Eno's story skin that's been in the game files for about 5 years is definitely a choice, but the Dizzy skin they tease looks super cute and gives me hope for the future. Of course, on top of all of this, Jam is finally being added to the game. That's her! That's my girl! She got that parry! I'm so fucking happy! From a competitive sense, the game is having a massive overhaul that's gonna freshen up the game, and from the casual sense, there's so many things to be excited about. Finally, new customization options let players express themselves more, but even then, they're adding even more casual stuff. You know, the character stories from Xrd, they're coming back. Yes, they're tied to the Battle Pass, but they're there. We're gonna get more lore updates than any time a character comes out, they have their lore updated in their arcade mode. We might actually get more interesting lore developments from characters. Even if, retrospectively, it does feel like another Strive season to the majority of players, I'm still excited to see where 2.0 goes. At this point, I trust Arxis more than ever. I remember when Strive was a new game. I would hear stories from the old Guilty Gear players about how they never managed to balance Xrd correctly. Every patch was just weird. They'd never listen to what the community wanted. They'd do what they wanted to do over everything else, and what they wanted to do sometimes didn't align with the competitive community. But now, it feels like Arxis are actually doing what the people want. It feels like they're doing what people have been asking for. Complaints people have had about Strive have been addressed in a massive way, be it gameplay issues from the hardcore players or a lack of available things for casuals. Arxis is serious about making an effort to have Guilty Gear appeal to as many people as possible, and they're doing that by actually listening to us. Over the past, year-ish, I kicked up kind of a stink around Arxis not listening to creators or not really reaching out to us in any kind of way. My second channel had so many videos on it, just being that Arxis have gone silent, they've not said anything, they're leaving us in the dark, and they're just letting us fend for ourselves. And nowadays, Arxis are reaching out to people, they're talking about things, they're giving us heaps of information about updates before they come out in a timely manner. Yeah, waiting 8 months for a fucking update still definitely sucks, especially if your job is talking about the game. But the comparison of how Arxis acts nowadays versus how they acted in the past is night and day. The best thing about Strive isn't its gameplay. It isn't the beautiful visuals. It isn't the amazing songs. It's the fact that it's changed Arxis' tone. It feels like Arxis kind of cares, at least about Strive. It's not perfect. The Arcwall Tor booting off Under Night is an absolutely massive loss for that community. And it's a massive loss for me as well, because I really like Uni. Same with Granblue, but Granblue seems to be able to sustain itself, so I'm less worried for that game. And also, it going back to America when we had a free entry World Tour tournament. Yeah, sure, try and do that shit in the United States. I'm sure it'll work out. But the vibe from Arxis feels different. Feels better. While every other modern fighting game community around me is burning because of terrible decisions from their developers, it feels nice to be seen, even just a little bit, by the people who make the game that I love. And for that, I can't thank Arxis enough.